Fantastic listeners. Poetry number 67 goes with the title, Wickedness or Goodness is eternally binding on the one who practices it. Supported by the story, Mrs. Olorumba was a teacher. At first, she was deemed a disciplinarian only. No one imagined she was a very heartless woman. She was indeed a teacher with whom no one could stay. Maid after maid fled her, but casual observers had presumed it was on account of their own lack of discipline, as Mrs. Olorumba was deemed a very disciplined woman. In church, she was very active and belonged to almost all the associations available. The choir knew her as one of its executive members. The women's group knew her as its treasurer. She was a mentor to the youth association, a regular reader of the Bible on Sundays and other days, a close associate of the pastor who advised much on how to handle issues. The news came out one day, however, that she had pressed a hot iron on the thighs of a maid for burning an article of clothing she was ironing for her. Public anger rose against her. The poor maid was taken from her by another woman who treated her kindly and even sent her to school. The maid turned out to be brilliant. She continued in school and eventually graduated as a medical doctor. One day, an accident occurred. Coincidentally, it involved both the woman who had been wicked to her and the one who had been kind. They had been traveling to a town for a funeral when their bus collided into an onrushing water tank. They were rushed to the hospital where the former maid worked. At this time, doctors were on strike and only a few had been detailed to handle emergency cases. It happened that she was the only doctor on duty that day. Both accident victims needed immediate attention or they would die. While she desperately wanted to save both no matter what, practically she could not attend to both at the same time with equal measure. A few more doctors would have been more acceptable, but who could persuade another striking doctor to rush to the hospital too? Were they around? Anyway, the nurses ran helter-skelter, but they were not doctors and could only do their little bit. The doctor, on seeing her good old foster mother, naturally spent more time with her while still trying to do the best she could for the other one who had been wicked to her. Both were in coma, hence did not even know they were in her hands. Consequently, the wicked one did not survive, while the kind one did because she was given more attention. Whose fault? Friends, from the story just told, it is instructive to note that wickedness or goodness is eternally binding on the one who practices it. Therefore, practice goodness. Thank you.